Hello everybody, happy Saturday. Welcome back to the channel for another video today. I wanted to hop on here and talk to you guys about the major news story that came out yesterday regarding Mounjaro and Zepbound shortages. I know that this is inducing a lot of feelings, mixed emotions in all of us in this community. And so I wanted to talk to you guys a little bit about that today and hopefully put a little bit of your worries at ease as to like what's all been going on. All these articles just started circulating and it's just a lot. It's a lot to unpack and uncover. So last night I spent like 2.5, 3 hours just going over everything that I could find regarding the shortage thing, and this is kind of what I have been able to come up with. I'm gonna link a few articles down below for you guys to go and check out that I found, and hopefully these will help you guys if you are looking into this topic or looking for research on it or whatever, because it can be scary for some of us. Let me go ahead and explain. So if you missed the news yesterday, Eli Lilly reported to the FDA that all strengths of both Mounjaro and Zepbound are available. So essentially on the updated shortage report list, all of them show as available. Now this is really good news for some of us that are on the branded medication still and are able to get, or are hoping to be able to get that a little bit easier in the coming months. However, for those of us that are on compounded versions, this can bring up a whole new possibility of scariness for us. So let's go ahead and unpack this. So on July 31st, 2 strengths of Zepbound, I believe it was the 10 and the 15 milligram, were still listed as in limited supply. At that same time, literally within days, the CEO of Eli Lilly gave an interview to Bloomberg, the Paris version of Bloomberg. And in that interview, he said that it was going to be very shortly, within the next day or two, that all of the strengths of Zepbound and Mounjaro would come out of shortage and they would be in ready supply for everybody that needs them. Now, if you are one of the millions of people across America that are still searching for these medications, you know that it has not been that easy to find them. It's definitely geographical in different areas of the country. So drop down below where you're at and if you're having trouble finding your branded medication or not. But there is still a lot of people that are not able to find their medication, that are on the waiting list for 2 to 3 weeks. You can pretty much go on any Reddit thread, like community posting thread, and see people every single day commenting that they are having trouble finding their medicine. However, David Ricks in that interview did say that the shortage was going to be ending very soon, and 2 days later, just yesterday on August 2nd, the new updated FDA list was published on their website and all of the strengths were marked as available. Now, this is scaring a lot of people, and this is where I kind of want to get into more like helping with the fear mongering, hopefully. So this is scaring a lot of people that use compounded versions of tirzepatide or even Wegovy, although Wegovy is still listed in short supply in a couple of their dosages. So they're kind of safe for now. But the tirzepatide people, the compounded tirzepatide people, are starting to freak out because the only legal reason that these compounding pharmacies were able to make Mounjaro or tirzepatide compounded was because the FDA had it on their shortage list, and that's what makes it legal. As soon as the Zepbound Mounjaro shortage is over, in theory, the compounded versions of these medications are going to go away. Now that is a whole, I wanna say first off that nobody really knows how that's gonna happen or when that's gonna happen or if that's gonna happen, because essentially when the medication is not on the shortage list anymore, the compounded versions cannot be copycats, meaning they can't be the direct formula of the branded medications. And so there's a lot of talk going around that maybe just adding a vitamin or changing the formulation up slightly will kind of be a loophole for these compounded pharmacies. And I just want to say that, you know, these pharmacies aren't dumb. Like, they've known that this was going to happen at some point, that something was going to happen at some point. So I do think that there's got to be something, like, I mean, you know, so many people get so worked up and so freaked out about it, but you know, there's gotta be some kind of plan B. You know, these pharmacies aren't just gonna be like, oh, there goes our billions of dollar profit. You know, I feel like something will happen. I can't speak to that for sure, but you guys, if we sit back and we think logically, we can assume that they're not just gonna like go down, lay down on the ground and say, okay, we give up, you know, especially when they're making such a profit, but also fighting for so many Americans that are having trouble getting this medication because of the cost or because of the shortage. Rich people should not be the only ones allowed to have this medicine. I will say it again. This medicine should be available for everybody, and the compounded industry is really helping with that right now. And so it's scaring a lot of people that are paying less for the compounded versions that may not be able to continue. Now, I digress. Back to the updated shortage list. Yes, they are listed as available. You can go on the FDA website. I will link it below and see that they are listed as available on there. However, that's not the be all end all of the shortage issue. They don't just allow, and this is what's scaring a lot of people, but they don't just allow the drug company to say, all is well, it's great, take it off the list, and that they do that. Essentially, they go off of what Eli Lilly is reporting, they take that, and that's what they publish on their website. But there is something, this magical thing called a health regulator that goes through and looks at backlogs and different reports of the shortage. You can actually report a shortage on the FDA website. There are a lot of other criteria that goes into whether or not the official regulator takes it off of the official shortage list. And as of yesterday and as of this morning, that has not happened yet. So I think that we can all sort of breathe a little bit of a sigh of relief because, like I said, that the regulator himself or herself, he or she, has not taken Mounjaro Zepbound off of the list. They don't just let the pharmaceutical company say, peace out, we're done with this, our shortage is over, and they take that. You know, they take that with a grain of salt and then they do some more research before they take it off the list. So just because it was reported to the FDA that is not in shortage yesterday does not mean that compounds have to stop today. There's more that's going to go into that before the regulator makes a final decision. So I want to kind of put that out there for now. A lot of people that are thinking more calmly about this are like, yeah, but there is still shortages, and they are still going to look at backlogs and pharmaceutical backlogs and see what is able to be filled and how long it's taking things to be filled. And there's going to be more research done into this. And so it, you know, while most people know that there will eventually be changes to the compounding industry, they don't necessarily think it's going to be today. One thing that I really wanted to point out is that there is a shareholders meeting with Eli Lilly next week. And as the reports came out of all of the strengths being available, the share price of Eli Lilly drastically improved yesterday, as one would assume. And this is going to look really good for the shareholders, you know, like they're going to have some really good things to butter them up in the meeting next week. I think that reading that transcript of the shareholders meeting is going to be very interesting. I think it's interesting that back in April, Eli Lilly was reporting that the shortages were going to last well into the fourth quarter and probably until late 2025, until everything is fully resolved in that area, mostly because they don't have their new factory ready yet. This new multi-billion-dollar factory that is supposed to help with these shortage issues is not completed yet. I know that. It's in like 45 minutes down the road from me. So I know where it's at, and I know that it's not done yet. There's still plenty of workmen out there working on things, and I know that that is not started yet. So I think that this is all a timing thing. It's all a political thing. It's all a look good for the shareholders thing. And you know, there's a lot of accusations going around about Eli Lilly pretty much flat out lying about the shortages to look good for their shareholders. I can't say if that's true or not. I'm not a, you know, Eli Lilly representative. I'm not even trying to obtain branded medication right now, but for the sake of this video and for the sake of being able to report some type of medications, I called 3 different pharmacies this morning. I called my local CVS. I called the pharmacy that I typically use to pick up my medicine from, and I also called our Walmart pharmacy. And all 3 of them were experiencing shortages of some type of dosage. The 10 milligram and the 15 especially were the worst. The Walmart and the CVS told me that 10 milligram would be at least 2 weeks to find. And my local pharmacy said that they've not been able to get anything except 2.5 and 5 regularly. So at least in my area, it is still having trouble finding this thing. So there are a few things that we can do. If you're on compounded medication and now you're like, oh my gosh, is this going to end right now? Or if you're a branded med user and you're peeved that all of a sudden they're saying that there's no shortages, but you still can't find your medicine, there is something that you can do. There is a handy little link on the FDA website where you can report a shortage in your area, and all of this is going to come into consideration before the regulator removes Zepbound and Mounjaro officially from the list. So I think that I initially saw most of this yesterday, just like the rest of the world did. There's been a few of my favorite content creators that have already commented on it. The Countess of Shopping did a really great video on it yesterday. And while I wanted to hop on here and be one of the first to report and all of that, I also wanted to make sure that I read a lot of stuff, that I understood a lot of stuff, that I got some more deeper knowledge of it before I just came on here and was like, oh my gosh, compounding's ending. No one's gonna be able to get their medicine. Because I don't necessarily, although again, I'm not a pharmaceutical worker, I'm not a healthcare worker anymore. I'm not anything that might know about this, but at the same time, I can read and I can do some research and I can think logically for myself. And it looks like there are some loops that are still going to be needed to be jumped through for it to be officially released. And even at that point, I would be very surprised if these compounding pharmacies did not have some other backup plan, right? Like, they're not just gonna lay down and give up. I just don't think that that is something that any of these people are going to be doing. I do think that this industry is going to be greatly affected by whatever the outcome of the election is, because it's the Federal Drug Administration, like whoever's running the country and whatever party is in the office is going to do things differently. And so I think that with it being an election year, there's also going to be a lot of things that are used and weaponized as a way to help whichever political party is using those things. And you know, you all know what I'm saying. You all know what I mean. We all saw it happen in 2020. Things are used, sadly, at the dispense of the American people to get people what they want and get people more money. And, you know, like I said, it's very interesting that there's a shareholder meeting next week. I think that that'll be very interesting to look over and to read the transcripts of. And I think that the shareholders might be a little bit happy right now. But also, again, if that is what is happening here, like if it is a game to make the shareholders happy, if David Ricks, the CEO of Eli Lilly, is saying what needs to be said to keep people happy, how sad for the American people and the obese and overweight community and the diabetic community that people are willing to flat out lie, if, again, not accusing, just saying if such things are happening, in order to make themselves more money. Again, we also, if we can sit back and think for a second, we're also in a world where they want to charge us $1,300 a month for a weight loss medication that they can make for much less. And so I think it'll work out. I think everybody needs to just sit back and take a breath, calm down, maybe not read everything that we see on the internet, and think through some things before we decide that we are doomed for all of the world. My husband just came in the door and Piper ran down the hallway to go see him. So yeah, that's kind of what I wanted to talk about today. I wanted to hopefully put some minds at ease. I mean, even like in Australia, if you guys have been following that story at all, compounded medications aren't able to be made after, I believe it's October 1st. And so they have given a bit of a warning for when that is being stopped. And so for people to get on there and scare people and say they were reported as in demand or in supply, that means legally today at this moment, no compounds are able to be made anymore. And that's just not necessarily true. There are so many different avenues and different options and different things that we don't know how they're going to unfold. And so again, with me taking a day to read things and not jump on the bandwagon and scare everybody, I think that we need to, you know, just take a breather. I think it'll be fine. It'll work out. And we need to have faith that the FDA will do right by America. We need to have faith in that. We need to have faith that they will listen to the American people when there's people reporting these shortages, when the regulator is looking over backlogs, that again, it'll be done right by us. And if not, that the compounding pharmacies have a option B. So that is what I wanted to talk about today. Let me know what you've heard. Let me know what you've been reading. I will link all of the articles below that I read to kind of gather myself before making this video so that you can read over them if you so choose. I found initially there was one video or one article that I read about the health regulator needing to make the final decision on, I believe it was Yahoo Finance. And then there was another one on, I believe it was Reuters or something similar, where they mentioned the same thing. So there are a lot of articles coming out and republishing things that have published things previously that are republishing this bit about the health regulator. So initially, a lot of the articles were like, oh, Mounjaro, Zepbound are off the shortage list. And then there's been newer updated articles where they are mentioning the health regulator and the criteria that has to be met to officially remove them from the list. So I think that as more information is coming out, these news sources are reporting the updated information. So it's important to always go back and read the most important or the most up-to-date articles instead of like an article from 2 or 3 days ago that may have initial scary information in it. So I will leave all of the articles below. Like I said, that I read for this video. Emoji of the day, let's do a star. Let's do a star. Because when I said emoji of the day, Chris went like this and it reminded me of a star. He's right in front of me. But anyway, thank you guys so much for watching this video. I hope you have a great weekend. I will see you next week. And let's all just try to take a deep breath and enjoy the weekend and hope that it will all work out. Have a great weekend, guys. I will see you soon. Bye.